Different video clips recorded by Carla Dyson of her baby son Frankie shows Frankie playing and laughing. The clips go on over the years as Frankie gets older, with Carla enjoying every minute with him.
You're going too fast!
In the present, Carla, a single mother, works tirelessly at a diner to support herself and her son Frankie. Her shifts are often demanding, dealing with difficult customers while being understaffed. Today, among her patrons is a family with a fussy child demanding hash browns, a mother and a daughter who barely communicate, and a couple with an impatient girlfriend. Her boss, noticing her stress, assures her that he's called in extra help so she can finally take a break and spend the day with Frankie. Carla takes Frankie to the park, where he watches his favorite kids' shows on the drive. Along the way, he asks about his father and his new wife, to which Carla gently encourages him to be friendly. And he agrees. At the park, they play a game of Marco Polo before settling down to watch a live show. Carla gets an unexpected phone call and steps away, leaving Frankie on a bench with his recording toy. She speaks with her lawyer, who informs her that her ex-husband is seeking full custody. Anxious, she talks with the lawyer while keeping a close eye on Frankie, though the surrounding noise makes her feel the need to step further away. When the call abruptly drops, Carla returns to the bench, only to find Frankie missing. Frantic, she searches the area, asking other parents if they've seen him, calling out, "Marco," repeatedly. Heading to the parking lot, she spots a woman dragging a distressed Frankie into a green Ford Mustang. She sprints to the car, clutching onto it as it drives away, but eventually loses her grip, her phone slipping from her bag in the chaos. Determined, Carla jumps into her minivan, following the Mustang through winding park roads. She tries to alert others to the situation, requesting one driver to call the police as she speeds on. The woman in the Mustang attempts to lose her, dropping a toolbox on the road. When Carla gets closer, the woman threatens Frankie with a knife, forcing Carla to find a new route to continue the chaos. Over the radio, Carla hears that police are mistakenly identifying her as a suspect. Realizing this might work in her favor, she continues her pursuit, hoping the police will unwittingly follow the kidnappers as well. Desperate, she listens to Frankie's recording toy, only to hear the female kidnapper coaxing Frankie into believing his mother is still searching for him. The woman even introduces herself as Margot, further unsettling Carla as she presses on in the chase. Seeing a police officer on a motorcycle nearby, Carla tries desperately to get his attention by swerving and honking, hoping he'll realize something is wrong. The officer, noticing her erratic driving, approaches and signals for her to pull over. She shouts that her son has been kidnapped, but the officer, skeptical and believing she's attempting to distract him, repeatedly tells her to stop. Just as he maneuvers between Carla's van and the kidnapper's car, the kidnappers forcefully swerve, pitting the officer between the two vehicles. Unable to control his bike, he loses balance and crashes into a ditch, leaving Carla alone again in the pursuit. The kidnappers pull off the road into a grassy field, forcing Carla to follow. Terrence, the male kidnapper, steps out of the car, gripping a knife in his hand, and moves swiftly towards her with an intimidating stare. Carla instinctively throws her van into reverse, creating space between them, until Terrence becomes visibly winded from chasing her. Sensing an opportunity, she shifts back into drive and begins moving towards him. But she stops just short, unwilling to run him down. Trying to reach an agreement, Carla offers Terrence money in exchange for Frankie's safe return. She warns him that as long as they keep her son, she will never stop following. Terrence pauses, seemingly considering her words. Then, she rushes back to his car. This time, Margot, the female kidnapper, steps out and calmly approaches Carla's window. She coolly informs Carla they'll release Frankie for $10,000, adding that her son will remain unharmed if she complies. Skeptical and distrustful, Carla hesitates, sensing that Margot's tone doesn't match her promise. Margot, however, presses her further, issuing a more menacing ultimatum. Carla must let her ride in the minivan to continue following Terrence, or Frankie will suffer the consequences. Realizing that she has no safe option if her son's life is at stake, Carla reluctantly agrees and allows Margot into the back seat, eyes weary and focused on every movement. As they resume the chase, they approach a narrow, dark tunnel. Sensing a shift in Margot's posture, Carla becomes alert. Suddenly, Margot attacks, attempting to wrest control of the wheel. A violent struggle breaks out between them, with Carla fighting to keep her focus on both driving and overpowering her attacker. In a frantic series of movements, she finally manages to fend off Margot's hold, and, with a forceful push, throws her out of the van. Margot stumbles up to her feet, but is unable to catch up as Carla speeds out of reach. Reaching the end of the tunnel, Terrence has stopped, apparently waiting for a signal for Margot to continue. Quick thinking, Carla grabs Margot's discarded jacket, draping it over her own shoulders to create the illusion that Margot is still inside the van. Extending her hand out the window, she mimics Margot's usual signal to continue, prompting Terrence to trust the ruse and resume driving. Unaware that Carla has now taken control of the situation, Carla keeps a close eye on Terrence's car as she follows, talking to herself as she tries to form a plan. She glances at her fuel gauge and realizes she's dangerously low on gas. Suddenly, Terrence slams on the brakes, forcing her to swerve, but still getting too close to his car. Seeing her mistake, he quickly figures out Margot isn't in the van anymore. He accelerates and, from a distance, makes a show of threatening to push Frankie out, forcing Carla to back off to protect her son. After a few twists and turns, Carla loses sight of Terrence's car. Desperate, she passes a family fishing by the side of the road and urges them to call the police, giving them a description of the green Ford Mustang. She keeps searching, but there's no sign of him. Then, she comes across a traffic jam caused by an accident, one clearly caused by Terrence's erratic driving. Realizing he might have continued on foot, she decides to drive through the field, frantically reaching the wreck, only to find that Terrence and Frankie have vanished. She questions bystanders, and one of them points her in the direction they saw a man running with a child. Carla sprints to the nearest police station and, breathless, explains the situation, describing the kidnappers' appearances down to their outfits and the color of their car. The officer at the desk, unmoved by her urgency, tells her to calm down and requests her name and details, jotting down her description. When he tells her to wait an hour for further action, Carla's disbelief escalates, and she pleads, saying an hour could mean losing her son forever. Still, the officer persists in trying to calm her. She uses the station's phone to call her ex-husband, but as she does, she notices a board with photos of other missing children, some of whom have been missing for over a decade. The thought of Frankie being among them terrifies her, and she decides she can't wait. Back on the street, Carla spots a black Volvo speeding away, and through the car window, she catches a glimpse of Frankie's face. Realizing it's Terrence, she gives chase. The pursuit intensifies until Terrence's car collides with a pedestrian, sending people scattering. Another car speeds towards the fallen pedestrian, and Carla, acting on instinct, veers her van to block it, preventing another hit. With her fuel nearly depleted, Carla continues the chase until her van sputters and finally dies. Determined not to give up, she exits and starts running after Terrence on foot, even though she knows she has little chance of catching up. As she watches him drive away, feeling utterly defeated, she spots an authority vehicle approaching and tries to flag it down. Before she can explain, Terrence swerves back, crashing directly into the car, killing the driver instantly and leaving Carla unconscious on the side of the road. When Carla regains consciousness, she staggers towards the Volvo, hoping to find Frankie inside. But the car is empty. Suddenly, Terrence appears and starts shooting at her. Dodging the bullets, she manages to get back into the car, with Terrence in hot pursuit, gripping onto the vehicle's side. Carla, determined to shake him off, throws the car in reverse and barrels backward into the dense woods. As they plow through, branches scrape and stab into Terrence, who finally loses his grip and succumbs when the car collides with a sturdy tree. In his final moments, Carla tries questioning him about Frankie's location, but he dies without revealing anything. Searching through his belongings, she finds his wallet, discovering both his full name and home address, a place she now hopes might lead her to her son. Using this lead, Carla drives to Terrence's home. Inside, she discovers pictures of Terrence and Margot together, confirming they were a married couple. Moving cautiously, she spots Margot inside the house, pacing and speaking anxiously on the phone. Carla listens carefully, overhearing Margot's conversation with an accomplice, discussing how Terrence's absence and Carla's persistent interference are jeopardizing their operation. Carla ducks out of sight as Margot steps outside and enters an outhouse. Taking advantage of the moment, Carla slips into the house to search for Frankie. She manages to call the police, who assure her that the officers will be on the scene within 7 to 15 minutes. Not wasting any time, she hurries to a nearby outhouse, where her search finally ends. Frankie is there, along with 2 other young girls who appear to have been kidnapped as well. Carla manages to get Frankie out of the outhouse, but as they escape, she notices Margot returning, a look of rage overtaking her face as she realizes Terrence is dead. Margot, armed and ready, begins to load her guns. Carla and Frankie sprint toward the lake, trying to stay out of sight. To buy time, Margot unleashes her dog, sending it after them. Carla and Frankie quickly duck beneath the lake's dock, hiding as the dog searches above. Thinking fast, Carla sets a small boat adrift across the water, creating a diversion that makes Margot believe they're trying to escape. Margot fires at the boat, but her focus shifts when she spots Frankie beneath the dock. As Margot aims at Frankie, Carla springs into action, dragging Margot into the water. A fierce struggle ensues, with both women fighting for control. But Carla gains the upper hand, ultimately stabbing Margot and leaving her to drown. With Margot neutralized, Carla rushes back to the outhouse, determined to save the other 2 kidnapped girls. Before she can leave, a neighbor, alarmed by the noise, enters the house holding a shotgun. Carla urgently explains that Terrence and Margot have been abducting children. The neighbor, however, dismisses her claims, insisting that he has known them for over a decade and cannot believe they would commit such crimes. Suspicious, Carla mentions the children in the outhouse, but when the man calls out to them as girls, she realizes something chilling. She never specified their gender. The revelation hits her, and she understands that he's an accomplice. Acting swiftly, Carla grabs a nearby shovel and strikes him in the face, killing him just as he turns his gun on her. Soon after, the police arrive, escorting Carla and the rescued children to safety. The media broadcasts the dramatic story, reporting how Carla's actions have unraveled an international child trafficking ring, leading to arrests not only locally, but across cities like New York, Paris, London, and Dubai. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.